a Noble Media Group member.
The world is very different now, for man holds in his mortal hands the power to abolish all forms of human poverty and all forms of human life.
6,000 years ago, man invented the wheel. 5,000 years later, he invented the printing press. 460 years later, he would fly. 70 years later, he would step on the moon. And 8 years later, he would send a spacecraft beyond our solar system. Today, we have computers which can think for themselves and robots that can dance. Properly utilized, today's technologies can bring an end to poverty, hunger, and even the need to work, or to make bombs that will end all life on Earth. Will we destroy ourselves or come together?
It is now 85 seconds to midnight. This is the closest the world has ever been to midnight.
Join Joe Carvin as he explores these questions, because mankind is on the hinge of history.
You are looking at the most important product in the history of humanity. Back in 2024, SpaceX caught a 20-story rocket out of the sky. And while most of us saw one of the most epic stunts ever, almost all of us have missed what this product will actually create. Because that catch, the pair of mechanical arms grabbing a 230-foot booster descending from space, wasn't designed for shock and awe, or to grab headlines, or to make sick content from it like this one. It was proof that humanity was about to enter its greatest period in history.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Hinge of History. I'm here with our dear friend Joe Carvin, and we've got a lot to talk about today, Joe. First of all, that's a heck of a way to open up our show. I have never seen this starship and the size and magnitude of it, but you know where this is going is just incredible. Tell us a little bit about why you wanted to share that, Joe, and where you see the near future coming.
Well, Brian, I think the fundamental question, we've been talking about living at the hinge of history, and we are, but I didn't realize how powerful our future really could be. I mean, we've been talking about sustainable superabundance and world without poverty, hunger, disease, and the need to work. The more I look at this, that's table stakes, Brian. Are you ready for the galactic civilization?
Let's do it.
The galactic civilization. I mean, and I got to say, look, I'm a huge admirer of Elon Musk. You know why? I know he's controversial, and I don't want, we're apolitical, but the bottom line is he's taken our vision so much further than what anything I ever would have thought would have happened. Right? He's taken our vision into outer space to moon and the Mars. So a couple of things. First of all, so we had the Apollo last week, and that was the first Apollo mission really to the moon for over 50 years. What happened?
Yeah.
What happened? That's unconscionable. And if you listen to Elon Musk and you watch his story with SpaceX, he decided, you know what? I'm going to build a spaceship. And he's done that. And now we're going to talk a little bit about his terafab announcement, where, again, forget sustainable superabundance, Brian. We're talking galactic civilization.
Right.
And we have a video we'll show a little bit of piece of from the terafab announcement, but just to tee it up, basically, he's saying that in order to build the data centers and the AI compute we need, there's not enough room on the planet Earth. And so he's gone to every chip maker, TSMC, Samsung, said, I'll buy everything you can make.
Wow.
And everything you got. And they're saying, like, well, and they're not building it fast enough. So in this terafab announcement that we'll look at, he basically shows that turn capacity, I guess, is 20 gigawatts of AI compute. And he says we need 1,000, I guess, terawatts. So we've got to go from 20 to 1,000. He's saying we need a 50-fold increase in AI compute in the next several years to build what he wants to build.
Incredible.
Right? Unbelievable.
Incredible.
Now, guess the best part is, how is he going to do this? So this is a joint venture between SpaceX, XAI, and Tesla.
Right.
So the way he's going to do this is he's going to have to go to outer space to get this capacity he needs. And he's going to need to go to the moon to make this happen. So ultimately, I saw this great interview with him, and we'll start. By the way, we're going to post on our website, Resource Center, so you can see, get if you want to go behind any of these meetings, you'll see that for every 30 minutes we do, there's at least 3 to 6 hours of research behind every show we do. So we're not just talking malarkey.
Right. Yeah.
But basically, so he's going to go to outer space to make this happen. And he was talking to these AI researchers, and they're like, wait a second. You have the whole of Nevada. It's a desert. Why don't you just build data centers across Nevada? He said, first of all, have you ever tried to get approval for a data center? You have the bureaucratic approvals, and then the electricity is the big, energy is the big. So the reason you got to go to space is the sun's always there. And he talks about Kardashev civilizations. That's a future conversation. But basically, he says, basically people can't make electricity fast enough for what he needs. So, we'll look at that. I don't know if you want to show that Terafab video now, or
yeah, we can show that right now.
All right, so we'll show that right now. Have a listen to him, and you'll see the need for going to outer space and all that.
This announcement is about solving the key missing ingredient. To give you a sense of what we're talking about, the current output of AI compute is roughly 20 gigawatts per year. This chart explains why we need to build the terafab, because all of the rest of the output from Earth is about 2% of what we need. So if you add up all the fabs on Earth combined, they're only about 2% of what we need for the terawatt project or terafab project. So, we certainly want our existing supply chain to be clear. We're very grateful to our existing supply chain, to Samsung, TSMC, Micron, and others. And we would like them to expand as quickly as they can, and we will buy all of their chips. I have said these exact words to them. But there's a maximum rate at which they're comfortable expanding, but that rate is much less than we would like. And so we either build the terafab or we don't have the chips. And we need the chips, so we're going to build the terafab. And we're starting off with an advanced technology fab here in Austin. I believe Governor Abbott is in the audience. I'd like to thank Governor Abbott and the state of Texas for their support.
I mean, again, what I love of this guy's vision. So for me, this really takes us back, as you will have seen, a 50-fold increase. He explains exactly why we need this. And this really goes back to the beginning of Tesla, right? When he started Tesla, nobody believed that he was going to create an electric vehicle. Are you nuts?
Right.
No way. Well, now, we're talking, and people don't understand numbers, right? So he's going to be the first trillionaire, right? But basically, I don't know if you know this. To count to 1 million is 12 days. To count to 1 trillion is 35 years. I'm sorry, to count to 1 billion is 35 years. To count to 1 trillion is 30,000 years.
Oh my gosh. That puts it in perspective, doesn't it?
That puts things in perspective. So the other thing I'm working on now, we're going to be launching this Saturday, One World, a stock market contest. You can participate, a global stock market contest. Brian, you and all the viewers, come join us. Go to the One World website, oneworlduv.com, and join the One World Global Stock Market Contest. And why do you want to do that? Well, first of all, There's no better window to the future than the stock market. How is that? Well, SpaceX just merged with XAI, and they're going to list. They just apparently filed for a listing. They'll probably IPO June, July
Right.
at a $1.75 trillion valuation. Gee,
That is
30,000
crazy.
years, 30,000, $1.75 trillion valuation,
That is crazy.
right? And the beauty here, and you've heard it here first, Brian. Once SpaceX and XAI are listed, who are they going to merge with? Tesla.
Right.
It's 1.25. So now you're going to have a $3 trillion company. And they're still not the biggest. NVIDIA's bigger. And our next year, we're going to talk about NVIDIA. But basically, a 3.25 or $3.3 trillion behemoth. But the beauty is he wants to be self-sufficient in the production of the things he needs in order to make AI compute.
To make it completely vertical.
They're completely vertical.
Yeah.
From here to the moon. So now if we start to really connect the dots, why did Apollo finally go? Well, they're embarrassed, one. But two, Elon managed to get the guy there was a big fight between him and Trump. When Trump and him were fighting, one of the reasons they were fighting is because he had this fantastic entrepreneur, Jared Isaacson, who he wanted to be the head of NASA. And Trump said, they had a fight, so he put somebody else in. Well, fortunately, I guess they made up, and now he's back. This guy, Jared Isaacson, I have infinite respect for entrepreneurs. He left school at 16 and built his own business. He became a billionaire. He's an accomplished pilot. He's driven two of SpaceX rocket ships out into outer space. Brian, you tell me, is this the guy you want in charge of NASA?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. 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 No, I didn't know about all that though.
Yep. And so on top of that, so NASA had launched the Artemis project. So they're just going to circle around the moon just to make sure they get their sea legs right and hopefully don't blow up. And I think they're coming back. But the goal is to land on the moon in 2028.
Right.
And then we're going to have a space colony. Now, I don't know, Brian, I don't know if the All In podcast competes with us yet or not. They say they're the #1 podcast. Have you ever seen the podcast?
Yeah, so we'll catch up with them eventually.
We'll catch up with them
next
soon,
week, maybe. Yeah.
Come on, baby. You got Brian and Joe compared to those 4 billionaires.
Yeah.
But the 4 billionaires had a wonderful comment on all these IPOs taking shape. And what they were talking about is the new space economy. So can you imagine a whole new GDP from space, Brian? Wow. Exponential. Wow. Come on. I was talking exponential in that wow before. Now I don't even have to raise my voice high enough. 4 times exponential wow, Brian. Come on, baby. Let's rock and roll. I don't know. One of my favorite sports announcers was Dick Vitale, and he would get, come on, baby. He would just have fun. Why would have fun? I mean, there's a great movie with Steve Martin, and in the movie, every time he can't believe something, he shakes it. Every time I think of something I can't believe, I just shake my head. And that's what we're shake our head territory. Now, and this is really important because we're just beginning to see the good news about AI and technology is that it hasn't become politicized just yet. The political parties haven't starting to right now. But ultimately, what people absolutely need to understand is there's no such thing. The zero, we've got to lose the zero-sum mindset, the scarcity mindset. So first of all, there's a whole new economy. Whole new economy. So how is that? How are you taking somebody's lunch? We're only adding value.
Right.
We create a whole new economy in space. That's all new value. 1. 2, it took, and you've heard me say this before, but it took us the whole of human information, the whole of human civilization to create our first $1 trillion company. And then finally, in August 2018, Apple became the first trillion-dollar company. Again, a million count to a million is 12 days. A billion, 35 years. A trillion, 30,000 years. So that's, we're talking the first trillion-dollar company.
Insane.
So it took a long time. Do you know how long it took to get the next trillion, to get the $2 trillion company? 2 years.
2 years.
And the $3 trillion company, another 2 to 3 years. And the next $4 trillion company.
So it's kind of gone exponential is what's happening.
Yes,
Yeah.
baby. And by the way, so if you look at it right now, and again, we'll put this on our website so you can follow up. Of the top 10 market cap companies in the world today, 9 are technology companies. So make sure you go to our, Brian, you want to sign into our website. It's 9 o'clock Saturday morning, April 11th. Get involved. And well, you can continue to register for the game. But the bottom line is, let me ask you this question. If you had invested in the IPO of any of those companies, the initial public offering, when they offered shares
when they go public,
and you put $10,000 in, where would your investment in Google be today?
I don't know, but it'd be humongous.
$1.2 million, $1.2 million. Now, wait a second. If you put 10,000 into Tesla, your investment would be 3.2 million.
Wow.
You want to rock and roll. You want to get on this game. What? Build the future. Look, ladies and gentlemen, never been a more exciting time to be alive. Never been a more exciting time to be young. Never been a more exciting time to be human. And we got to emphasize our humanness. In fact, this is the other video we want to show today. Maybe we'll show it now, Brian.
We can do that.
Talk about the future of humanity. But ultimately, and again, I love the way the Elon and Jensen Huang talk about the future. But I think if you really want to understand Elon Musk, Joe Carvin has the best insight. His number one goal is human survival.
Yeah.
Human survival. Ladies and gentlemen, we need to survive. That's why we're at the hinge of history.
Yep.
And when we listen to this videotape, he talks about the Fermi paradox.
Yep.
We talked about that before, right?
Yes, we have.
And so he talks about the Fermi paradox, and he says he's a big fan of Enrico Fermi, the Italian scientist, who said, where's everybody? He looked out across the stars 13 billion, 8 billion years down the road, and there's no one out there.
Haven't heard anything. Yeah.
Now, Brian, I'm going to take my glasses off for impact and effect.
Okay.
For the close-up shot. But at the end of the day, what if we are the only awareness, the only consciousness out there in a universe that stretches 93 billion light years across? What does that do to our responsibility? What does that do to you and me? Brian, my number one dying goal is human survival.
Sure.
So let's listen for a second to see what Elon talks about that, because he has a beautiful metaphor. We have this small, tiny candle in a dark and endless sky. We need to keep that candle alive. That should be the number. All these other silly conversations we have, Democrat, it's all silliness. It's all silliness. Human survival.
100%.
Flourishing. All right, let's listen.
Let's watch this.
With the help of many talented people, built these companies, and then the so-called these wealth statistics simply add up what the ownership is in the companies and say, okay, this is a certain amount of money, but I don't actually have that in money. I have it in stock. It's just that the companies have succeeded. But
how was the last launch of the SpaceX? Tell me something. Last question, please, Giovanni. The last launch. I see Mauro there sitting on the floor. Why are you sitting on the floor? Are you worried about the highness?
Hey, Mauro.
How was the last launch? Was you were optimist about your SpaceX, the big?
Yeah. So, well, Starship. So the exciting thing about Starship is that it's the first rocket design that could make life multiplanetary, that could enable a self-sustaining base on the moon and a city on Mars. Because it's not just a very large vehicle, but it is designed for full and rapid reusability. So that would lower the cost of access to space by, I don't know, maybe 100 or more. And so, basically, it's the first rocket that is capable of building a base on Mars and a base on the Moon. Yes, that's yeah. So, there's the great Italian physicist Enrico Fermi. I'm a big admirer of Fermi, and he was very good at asking profound questions. And one of his questions, which is called the Fermi paradox, is where are the aliens? And one of the explanations is that, and perhaps I think the one that I think appears to be most accurate, is that consciousness is extremely rare. That people often ask me, do I know about aliens or something like that? I get asked that a lot. And the crazy thing is that I've seen no evidence of aliens whatsoever. This means that I think most likely, at least in this part of the galaxy, we are the only consciousness that exists. And so you can think of human consciousness really as like a tiny candle in a vast darkness. And we must do everything we can to ensure that the candle does not go out. Yes.
Great. We can finish with that. Elon.
Yeah.
Okay? We can finish with this.
Oh, and so it's worth reading about the Fermi paradox, and because people have thought very hard about this, because one of the things is like, well, maybe there are these great filters, and these civilizations don't pass these filters. One of the filters is, do we become a multi-planet species or not? If we do not become a multi-planet species, then eventually, at some point, something will happen to the planet. Either it will be man-made, or it will be something natural, like a meteor, like whatever killed the dinosaurs, for example. So, and then eventually the sun will actually expand and will destroy all life on Earth. So if one cares about life on Earth at all, we should care about becoming a multi-planet species and eventually going out there and becoming a multi-stellar species and having many star systems. We want the exciting parts of science fiction to not be fiction forever. We want to make them real. And, yeah.
Great.
So,
Thanks.
So, Brian, here we are in back on planet Earth. And again, the other thing we definitely need is a global mindset, right? What we're trying to do at One World Future Ready, the not-for-profit educational company. Well, there's a for-profit, not-for-profit. The educational enrichment program I've created is to try and create a 21st century Renaissance mindset. The sooner we understand that we share a single fate on a crowded planet, the better off we're going to be.
Yeah.
So I'm very hopeful we can do that, but I don't know. What are your thoughts, Brian? Are we heading that way or the wrong way?
Well, I think we have to head that way, Joe. I don't see where we have a choice. I completely agree with you about Elon, and as much as we're apolitical, yeah, he's got that side, but he's a visionary, and you've got to give him that. He's consistently been a visionary about this. I do think we'll probably see footprints on Mars in my lifetime for sure. And I know that he's kind of switched some of his stuff over to focus a little bit on the moon.
Yep.
And one of the things I didn't understand, though, maybe is one of the reasons that you want to do this in space because of the temperature, because of the heat those put off, or is that not a factor to it?
There could be, but I'm not aware of the principal reason. He was, and that might be part of it. Again, I don't understand all the technical details. What he did talk about is it's sunny all the time.
Yeah, that makes sense, right?
And again, I think there was less friction, so he can produce energy at a much lower cost. He can produce AI compute at a much lower cost, and he has the rocket ships to get you out there. That's the other thing.
Yeah.
The big game changer that he created, and again, this is all. Where was NASA?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But the big game changer was a rocket ship that he can relaunch.
quickly
Yeah, because now
and efficiently. Yeah.
he relaunched, right? Imagine if your airplane crashed every time you did it.
Yeah. I think he compared it to a 747. If you take a brand new 747 and crash it after its first flight, which is what we've been doing, and he's changed that, right?
Yeah.
Now we haven't seen the latest flight. I think that's coming up. He's got another one coming up on one of his flights for Starship too, but it's just amazing. It's just amazing how big that thing is.
And I got to say, I just love listening to him when he speaks. So he went to, and we'll put these on our website. They had 3 hour talk with these two guys, research guys, and see the interesting thing, and we'll tee up for our next show as well. So basically, he says, I'm an engineer. And this is this is why, I don't know, you may want to buy some Tesla. You may want to buy into this. I'm not going to comment. We can't comment here, but I'll tell you, Joey's going to take a little bit just to follow, because at the end of the day, you want to follow it. The more you understand what's happening, the more you look at the stock market. There's no better window to the future in the world than the stock market. Elon's got to come to you every 3 months and tell you what he's doing.
Yeah.
And give you a whole treasure trove of information. But basically, the really interesting thing in this conversation is, well, you guys are software guys. You don't know anything about the real world. And what's interesting, so again, my son, I'm going to shout out to my son, Michael Carvin, founder of smartasset.com, created $1 billion company, right? And he started with a mortgage calculator and he built it from there, obviously. What's interesting, I've been following Elon very closely for the last several years. And it's very clear to me that his thinking has evolved. And ultimately, what's happened is he's realizing that the AI is improving dramatically fast, and robotics is improving.
Yeah.
So AI and robotics together make space possible, makes it possible bring an end to poverty and hunger. They'll do all the work for us. But what's interesting, if you only have software and you don't have the real world, and that's where Tesla comes in. He's got 10 million cars. He's got 10 million car robots on the road.
Right.
So, because my big question always was, where are you going to put all that AI? Well, you're going to put in the robots. So he has a huge competitive advantage in that he has the AI, right? The compute and the physical real world, and he can bring it all together. So I don't know. I think he has a new deal with Tesla. I think the idea is to become the first quadrillionaire. So, but he's got to build the value 10 times. So if I'm an investor, I'm loving life. He doesn't get paid a penny till I make 10 times my money. I love that deal. So in any case, I'm with Elon in terms of human survival. And Jensen Huang's taking a picture out of his book. So what's Jensen doing? And this we'll talk about next time. Jensen at the GTC 2026 conference. Apparently he does these big conferences twice a year. And again, the reason you look at the stock market, he's got to talk to the investors. But in any case, he's talking about 5 layers. The AI compute industry's 5 layers. And I'll come back to you with more detail. And he has the different layers. But one of them is the physical robot layer. And so what is Jensen saying? Hey, Elon's on to something here. So what is Jensen? He's smart. He's made deals with every one of the other electronic vehicle manufacturers, the Chinese ones. So all the electronic vehicle manufacturers, he's made a deal.
They make money no matter what.
And so the future, so basically the big thing we'll be talking about next time, the reason you need teraflops, and reason Jensen, I don't know if you heard this, Jensen says, I'm going to generate $1 trillion, 30,000 years, $1 trillion in revenue in the next couple of years. He's gone from 500 billion to $1 trillion. Trillion with the T. So first company in the history of humanity to do that. That's extraordinary. Now, how can he be so confident? And this is, again, we'll next session, we'll set this up. There's really 4 types of AI as we talked about: perception, generative, agentic, and robotic or physical. And what happened? Every ChatGPT is generative, like you and me, kind of doing research over, feeling really smart and all that. Doing all my... Well, what happened? Every corporation. So McKinsey's saying, I've got 60,000 employees. 35,000 human beings and 25,000 AI, agentic AI agents. So ultimately, what's happening is apparently, and this is what Jensen will talk about more next time, the agentic AI uses 1,000 times more AI compute than generative. So that's why Elon's going from 2 to 1,000. That's why Jensen's rocking and rolling. Ladies and gentlemen, we're coming to a close. I only got 3 things to say for you. Rock, roll, and roll again.
Well, I've seen too. I don't know if you saw the news, but I saw the news just the other day that who is it? It's one of the AI companies. The prototype that they've released is so powerful, right, that they're not even fully releasing it so that other companies and everybody can prep up for it before it totally gets out there. Yeah, I think that was an actual story.
This is Anthropic.
Oh, it was Anthropic. Yeah. Yes.
Fantastic, Brian. These are spectacular stories. These guys have gone from $1 billion in sales to $30 billion in sales in 12 months.
Oh my gosh.
And this is the other thing we'll talk about, Jensen. I was just listening to it before I got on. We'll probably leave with this video next time.
Okay.
Basically says you need to have a claw code strategy. I'll get to the actual name, but you need to have an Anthropic Claude code strategy. I'm getting the words wrong, but you'll need to have that kind of strategy. And that's what's driving the huge increase in agentic AI.
That is crazy. Well, this has been a really good episode, Joe. I think we've given everybody a lot to kind of think about, and I'm looking forward to the next one. We can talk about the layers, and that'll be a lot of fun too.
Thank you, Brian.
Yeah, thanks everybody for joining us today. As always, Joe, you do an amazing job, and I'm just sitting here in awe 9% of the time of what you know about this stuff. So thanks again. Everybody, make sure that you subscribe to our channel. Go to YouTube, like it, and make sure you subscribe to No Bull Media Group. You'll get to watch Joe Carvin. You'll get to watch the different news and political programs we have, but it'll keep you up to date on everything. So it's free. Please go join it, and we will see you again next time. Thanks again, Joe. Thanks so much.
Bye. Thanks, Brian. Thanks so much.
You've been watching Joe Carvin's Hinge of History. The No Bull Media Group is available on all major social media platforms. Make sure to give us a follow where you can watch this show and many others.
A No Bull Media Group member.